Now, drivers over 70 will lose more freedoms on the road under a little-known policy.
Yes, it means older drivers will have to apply for separate permits if they want to drive heavier vehicles and minibuses.
Well, is this right? Well, to debate this, we're joined by criminal defence lawyer Paul Britton and former MEP and Environmental campaigner Stanley Johnson. Morning, gentlemen. Good to see you. Paul, let's start with you. What do you make of it?
Straight in at the deep end. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. These vehicles that the policy is going to impose restrictions on are much more cumbersome, heavier to drive, and can cause more risk to other vehicles and pedestrians. The chance of being a casualty if you're hit by a larger vehicle, whiplash or other injuries, vastly increased, is so that yeah, it's a good policy to introduce.
You're a danger on the road, Stanley.
I think this is a symptom of people ganging up on older people. I actually consider myself not as an older person. I'm only 85, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to drive for another 20 years. But I worry about this effort to discriminate against the older people. Imagine you're an older person, you have this thing hanging over you. Oh, my God, I'm quite soon going to be able to retake my driving test. I think we've got to be really careful before we go down this route, so I'm dead against it.
Stanley, it's not about discriminating on age. It's about looking at the probability of having an accident when you reach a certain age. I mean, if we're going to say it's discrimination, we could say that we discriminate against under 18-year-olds by not allowing them to drive at all. But they lack the cognitive ability to manoeuvre a car safely.
Now, I'm not sure what cognitive ability means. What does cognitive ability mean? That's far too difficult a word for me. I take some statistics here. It has been shown that the elderly have three times fewer accidents, the over 70s, than the age group.
As a percentage of the number of people that drive within that category. But overall, what you see on the data, and actually the Office of National Statistics has changed the way that they report it now, but if we look at data from 2022, for example, we see a sharp increase in the number of casualties resulting from the over 75 category.
Well, are you saying then, Paul, that actually people should have to not forget the bigger vehicles, get to 70 or 75, and you should have to be regularly retaking a general driving test?
I think so, and I think actually it will preserve mobility of the elderly if we can start to identify which of them are able to continue driving safely.
OK. Please state, this is really, I am horrified to hear a respected lawyer. I mean, you're not just a say you're a proper lawyer. You know, you're not a
proper lawyer.
Yeah, you know, not a chap who says he's a solicitor. You are a solicitor. You've got a firm, and you are saying that actually elderly people. And when I say elderly, I mean, you know, you're talking about over 70. As far as I'm concerned, 70, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro twice between my 70th and 80th birthday, and I'm planning to do it again. I think the idea that you should discriminate in this way against old people so they can think, oh, my God, people like Paul Britton are saying, you're going to have another test. You know, bad enough having to have an I can actually read every single word. It says, lawyer Paul Britton and former MEP and Environmental campaigner Stanley Johnson.
Stanley, to be fair.
But Stanley, you shouldn't object to being tested then if your eyesight's perfect, because you won't fall foul of it. But as a lawyer, as a respected lawyer, I can be objective. You know, I'm not 84, Stanley, and looking at this from my own perspective, I'm looking at this and it's data-driven, it's on the facts.
Well, but you've got to say, in countries like Spain, I don't know about anywhere else in the EU, but in Spain, over a certain age, you have to have a test, and it's not out on the road test, but a sort of in a simulator sort of test.
New Zealand, Australia and parts of the United States too.
Well, I want to just read you the statistics here. A Swansea University study found that drivers aged 70 were involved in 3 to 4 times fewer accidents than men aged between 17 to 21.
You can't deny that. Maybe we should. If you want to do this to older people, Paul, maybe you need to stop people from.
Steve, this is
don't allow them to drive till they're 25.
17. We're targeting the 17 to 21, the least experienced group of all of the data. Look, people have got to start somewhere, and if we start saying to 17 to 21-year-olds, you can't drive, how are they going to go to work? How are they ever going to become good drivers?
Let me tell you one other thing, which this sort of conversation leads to. OK, I'm over 70. I'm actually over 80. I'm actually going to be over 90. I want to drive when I go on holiday. you find nowadays when you ring up EasyJet or whatever, oh no, we can't let you drive a car. I'm sorry, you can't have a package which includes driving a car because you're too old. This is real nonsense.
No, Stanley, isn't it reassuring if you went and took a test and you could prove that you were safe on the roads? Isn't it reassuring for you that you're not going to cause someone an injury or a fatality? I mean, if it were me, I would want that reassurance.
No, but that would apply to all of us, though, wouldn't it, Paul? I mean, you know, we're all that by the grace of God do we drive to and from every day without having accidents. On that logic, we should all retake our tests every 2 years.
Steve, the data doesn't support it for the other age categories, save as maybe the 17 to 25.
Well, I was right about that.
Are an exception. You know, post 40 up until 75, those categories are an all-time low of causing fatalities and casualties. So I wouldn't say it was proportionate to affect them, but I would say over 75, and I don't mean disproportionately, 3 to 5 years.
We are moving towards a police state, and this is a powerfully bad step in that direction, and it needs to be resisted. We've got to get our minds around the demography here. 70 is not old any longer. This is nonsense. There are 5 million people who are over 70 with driving licenses. You can't ask all those people to take new tests.
I've got to ask you... Oh, sorry, darling, go on.
I was just going to say, we're out of time, gentlemen.
I was just going to ask Paul how old you are.
I'm 41.
Right, so in another...
Got a few more years, then.
I reckon in another 28 years, you'll be campaigning in the opposite direction.
Swap sides, Stanley, in 28 years.
I think so.
OK.
I think
well,
so.
We'll see.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
You will certainly have a view on that one at home. Should there be more driving tests for over 70s? Do you think it's a good idea? gbnews.com.